You know that moment when she says something that gets under your skin? When she pushes your buttons, questions your worth, or challenges your calm just to see how you'll react. It feels unfair, frustrating, and almost impossible to stay composed. But here's the truth. How you respond in that moment defines you more than what she said or did. This is where your masculinity and wisdom are tested, not in words, but in composure. If you want to master emotional control, self-respect, and true power, then stay until the end of this video. Before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and allows me to share more Stoic wisdom with you. Number 1, understand what's really happening. The first mistake most men make when they feel tested is reacting to the surface, the tone, the words, the attitude. But a Stoic doesn't stop at the surface. He looks beneath it. He sees the emotion behind the action. When a woman tests you, she's often not trying to tear you down. She's trying to see if you stand firm, whether consciously or not. She's seeking to understand if you're the type of man who can remain grounded when things get tense. In relationships, emotional tests are inevitable. She might question your decisions, criticize something trivial, or even ignore you. These moments are not about the specific behavior. They are about your reaction. If you crumble or become defensive, you show instability. If you maintain calmness and clarity, you show depth and leadership. Women test emotional consistency because consistency signals safety. And safety, for most women, equals trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. What she says, does, or feels is beyond your control. But what you allow to disturb your peace, that is fully within your control." You don't need to explain yourself in every disagreement, and you don't need to win every argument. You simply need to hold your ground with quiet confidence. When she's emotional, your steadiness becomes her anchor. But when you become emotional too, the entire ship sinks. A Stoic man understands that his emotional balance is not negotiable. It's his shield. He learns to watch her reaction like a wave and let it pass. When you stay calm, she feels your presence, not your panic. Remember, it's not about showing no emotion. It's about not being ruled by them. You can feel irritated or disappointed. That's natural. But your power lies in how you carry those emotions. You can either use them to grow stronger or let them control you. Every test is an opportunity to practice the first rule of Stoicism, self-mastery. Number 2, control your first reaction. The first reaction is the trap. It's the doorway where emotion tries to replace reason. When she tests you, there's always that split second before you respond. And in that second lies your freedom. Most men throw that freedom away by reacting instantly. They raise their voice, defend themselves, or withdraw completely. But the Stoic man does something rare. He pauses. That pause is sacred. It's not passive, it's powerful. It's the moment where you breathe, observe your emotion, and separate yourself from it. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That simple truth holds the entire key to emotional discipline. The more control you have in that first second, the stronger your inner world becomes. When she tries to provoke you, pause. Look at her, not as an opponent, but as a mirror showing where you still lack patience or ego control. Her emotional spikes are not the problem. Your inability to stay calm in their presence is. Use that moment to test your training. Breathe deeply. Lower your tone. Respond slowly. When you do this consistently, you teach both yourself and her that you cannot be manipulated by emotion. There's power in not reacting. The less predictable you become, the more respect you command. People expect emotional men, angry, defensive, impulsive. But when you remain calm in situations where others would explode, you create mystery. That's the essence of masculine energy, not in force, but in quiet control. So next time she tests you, let silence be your first weapon. Let your stillness speak louder than your words. Remember, patience is not weakness. It's proof of self-mastery. Anyone can raise their voice, but it takes true strength to lower it when everything inside you is burning. Number 3, choose calm over control. There's a dangerous mistake men often make. Thinking calmness means trying to control her behavior. But calmness has nothing to do with control. It has everything to do with acceptance. The Stoic man doesn't stay calm because he expects others to behave. He stays calm because he accepts that they won't. That's the difference between emotional peace and emotional dependence. When you expect someone to act perfectly, you're setting yourself up for frustration. Stoicism teaches that you can't control people, only your perceptions and responses. She will test, provoke, and question you, but her behavior says nothing about your worth. The moment you need her to stop testing you to find peace, you've already lost it. True peace is found in your response, not her restraint. Calmness isn't passive, it's active discipline. It's the ability to observe chaos and not let it rewrite your character. When she becomes emotional, don't meet fire with fire. Meet it with grounded silence or measured words. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means not letting disrespect redefine you. Seneca once said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity." Tests are blessings disguised as discomfort. They force you to apply the philosophy you've studied. They turn ideas into strength. Every time you respond calmly, you're not just saving a moment. You're training your mind to be untouchable. The more calm you become, the less her tests will even register as tests. You'll start to see them as waves hitting a rock. They may crash, but they can't move you. That's what being stoic looks like in real life. Choosing peace, not because life is peaceful, but because you are. Number 4, don't engage in emotional battles. When emotions run high, arguing is useless. You can't outshout emotion with logic. You can't lead her or yourself through chaos if you become part of it. A stoic man doesn't enter emotional wars. He dissolves them through presence. Presence is your anchor, the calm energy that says, "I'm not going anywhere, but I won't lose myself either." In moments of conflict, it's easy to get dragged into proving a point. But what she remembers isn't what you said, it's how you made her feel. If your energy turns hostile, she feels unsafe. If it stays calm, she feels grounded, even if she disagrees with you. Your role is not to win arguments. It's to win respect, both hers and your own. Presence doesn't mean silence either. It means controlled expression. Speak only when your words add value. Lower your tone, not to intimidate, but to stabilize the energy in the room. Every word should come from clarity, not emotion. The less you speak, the more power your words carry. Sometimes, the wisest response is to say nothing at all, to let the moment breathe, to step back, take space, and let her emotions settle. You can return to the conversation later when both sides have cooled. A stoic knows that not every situation needs closure in the moment. Some storms pass when you stop feeding them. Emotional leadership isn't about dominance, it's about discipline. When you hold your composure, you teach by example. You show her that she can trust your strength. And over time, that trust becomes deeper than attraction. It becomes respect. Number 5, strength through stillness, the reward of self-mastery. Every emotional test, every moment of frustration, is preparing you for something greater. Stoicism is not about coldness, it's about clarity. It's about remaining centered when others lose balance. When she tests your patience, it's not the universe punishing you, it's the universe shaping you. Each trial is an invitation to grow stronger internally. The man who learns to stay composed in emotional storms becomes unshakable. His peace cannot be stolen because it's not built on approval or comfort. It's built on discipline, and that kind of peace radiates. People notice it. They trust it. They're drawn to it. There's beauty in being still while the world shakes around you. That's not suppression. That's mastery. You're not ignoring emotion. You're channeling it. You feel it fully, but it doesn't control you. That's real strength, not in power over others, but in power over yourself. When you respond calmly to her tests, you're not just preserving a relationship, you're building character. You're proving to yourself that wisdom always outlasts impulse. The same patience that keeps peace in relationships also builds success, focus, and greatness in life. So remember this, a Stoic man doesn't avoid tests, he welcomes them, because each test refines him. Each challenge polishes the marble of his soul. And when she tests your patience again, smile. You've trained for this moment. Number 6, the ego trap. When she tests you, your ego will be the first to stand up and fight. It whispers that you need to show her who you are, that staying calm means weakness, that silence means losing. But the Stoic knows, ego is the loudest voice of insecurity. The moment you try to prove your worth through reaction, you've already lost it. True strength doesn't need a shout. It simply is. Ego thrives on validation. It wants to be right, to be admired, to be in control. But Stoicism teaches that control over others is an illusion. Only self-control is real. When you react defensively, you feed the illusion that your worth depends on someone's approval. When you stay still and composed, you remind yourself that your value is internal, not external. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That means don't argue for respect, embody it. Don't demand recognition, demonstrate calmness, wisdom, and restraint. A woman doesn't test your patience to see your words. She tests it to feel your stability. When you stop defending your ego, you start defending your peace. There's nothing left to prove because your actions already show your strength. That kind of energy is magnetic. It commands attention without asking for it. It earns respect without forcing it. So, next time you feel the urge to argue, pause. Let her speak. Let the silence do the talking. When you don't need to prove yourself, you've already proven yourself. That's the Stoic paradox. Power through surrender, strength through calmness, authority through silence. Number 7, patience is a form of power. Patience isn't passive. It's one of the rarest forms of strength. In a world addicted to reaction, patience becomes rebellion. When she tests your patience, she's unknowingly giving you a chance to demonstrate your control, not just over her, but over yourself. Every second you remain calm is a second you're building mental muscle. Patience gives you perspective. When you don't rush to respond, you start seeing patterns. You notice why she says certain things, when she becomes emotional, and how your reactions affect her. That awareness turns chaos into clarity. You stop taking everything personally and start responding strategically. Seneca wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly." That includes emotional mastery. The more you practice patience, the more you detach from temporary irritation. You begin to understand that frustration is a test of your own boundaries. The moments that once made you lose your composure now become opportunities to practice stillness. When you're patient, you see the truth. Emotional tests are not designed to break you, but to refine you. Patience gives you time to think, to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. It allows you to keep your dignity intact, even when someone else loses theirs. And here's the paradox: the more patient you are, the more control you actually have. Because people who can't be rushed, provoked, or manipulated hold all the power. That's why patience isn't weakness, it's quiet dominance. It's the art of moving slowly while everyone else panics. Number 8. Emotional control is masculine energy. True masculine energy isn't about dominance or volume. It's about direction and control. It's the silent force that brings order to emotional storms. When she tests you, she's subconsciously checking if your emotional state is stronger than hers. Can you hold the energy of the moment without being swept away? That's leadership, not control over her, but mastery over yourself. The Stoics believe that calmness is contagious. When a man is emotionally stable, his presence creates safety. He doesn't need to fix her mood. His steadiness allows her to regulate herself. This is why Stoic composure isn't cold, it's compassionate. It's strength expressed through restraint. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Meaning, don't chase validation in heated moments. Even if your calmness is misunderstood, it's better to be silent and in control than right and reactive. A Stoic man doesn't explain his peace, he lives it. When you stay calm, your energy changes the dynamic. You teach her, without words, that emotion cannot rule your world. And slowly, she adapts to that rhythm. Your silence becomes her mirror. Your patience becomes her balance. That's real masculine energy, guiding without force, influencing without control. So, remember, you don't need to prove strength through dominance. You prove it through stability. Anyone can yell. Few can stay centered while being tested. The Stoic man knows that his stillness is louder than any reaction. Number 9, boundaries and respect. Being Stoic doesn't mean being a doormat. It means knowing when to walk away with dignity. There's a fine line between patience and passivity, and a wise man learns to recognize it early. When she continuously disrespects you, ignores your boundaries, or uses emotional games to manipulate you, Stoicism demands you act, not with anger, but with finality. Boundaries are not about control, they're about self-respect. When you calmly enforce your limits, you send a message: my peace is not for sale. You don't need to yell, threaten, or explain endlessly. You simply state your standard and act on it. That's the Stoic way, simple, firm, and emotionless. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." Freedom comes from emotional independence, from not letting fear of loss or rejection keep you trapped in disrespect. When she sees you're willing to walk away from chaos, she feels your strength more deeply than if you tried to argue your worth. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you teach others how to treat you. If you allow disrespect, it grows. But if you calmly address it once and step back, you command respect. That's not control, that's leadership. You show that your standards come from self-awareness, not ego. Remember, Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotion. It's about mastering response. Being calm doesn't mean accepting mistreatment. It means handling it with clarity. The strongest boundary is quiet, consistent action, not emotional retaliation. Number 10, the ultimate lesson, turning emotional tests into inner growth. Every emotional test has a purpose: to expose your weaknesses and reveal where you still need discipline. Stoicism turns these moments into mirrors. When she tests your patience and you feel anger, insecurity, or frustration, that emotion isn't the enemy, it's a signal. It's showing you where your peace still depends on external validation. A Stoic doesn't waste pain. He studies it. He asks, why did this bother me? What truth is hiding under this reaction? That's how you turn emotional pain into personal evolution. Instead of blaming others, you use every trigger as training for inner balance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Her emotional tests, your frustrations, your moments of weakness, they're not distractions. They're the very material you need to build emotional resilience. Without them, there's no growth. When you begin to see life this way, frustration turns into opportunity. Instead of reacting, you reflect. Instead of fighting emotion, you refine it. You become stronger, calmer, and wiser after every test, because each one proves you're no longer the same man who once reacted blindly. The final Stoic truth is this: peace isn't the absence of chaos. It's the ability to remain calm in it. When she tests your patience again, smile quietly. You're not being challenged, you're being sculpted. Every test is a hammer, and you're the marble. What remains after each strike is your masterpiece, a man of unshakable calm.